Password-based authentication methods will use username and password combinations to identify users and computers attempting to connect to the network. While each form of authentication has advantages and disadvantages, password-based authentication methods do not generally provide the strongest security. Therefore, they're not recommended except in situations where high security is not required or not desirable due to increased costs. For certain network access points, they may be acceptable, but especially in the case of wireless access, certificate-based authentication methods are highly recommended. One type of authentication is unauthenticated access. The next type of access control is Password Authentication Protocol, or PAP. This also is not a recommended authentication protocol because it is the least secure in the list. It typically is only used if the access client and network access server can't negotiate a more secure authentication method. The primary problem with PAP is that the password is sent in plain text, so anybody who is listening on the network with a packet analyzer would be able to capture the user credentials. If user credentials are vulnerable using a particular access method, then it's a good bet that you should not be using that access method. The next option is CHAP, or Challenge Handshake Authentication Protocol. CHAP is an industry standard protocol using the Message Digest 5 or MD5 hashing algorithm in order to securely transmit the user credentials across the network. The enforcement of network access protection involves an integration of both client and server in which the health of a client is evaluated and compared against the health policies created on the network policy server. Let's take a generalized look at the enforcement process before digging into a few of the more common enforcement methods. First, in the enforcement process, the client will communicate with network access points that are configured as a radius client or that are simply NAP enabled. For instance, a VPN server would be configured as radius client and set to forward its authentication request to the network policy server. In this case, it would be the network policy server then that would be implementing network access protection. On the other hand, the DHCP server is enabled for network access protection either at the server level or at the scope level. In either case, the network access points will forward requests to the NAP Health Policy Server. The NAP Health Policy Server then requests health information from the client. This health information is known as an SOH, or Statement of Health. Assuming that the NAP client has the Network Access Protection Service running and the appropriate enforcement client enabled, the NAP client can respond with a Statement of Health.